Welcome to Bee Agile Dee. I am Deepika, and in today's video, I will explain how to use a cumulative flow diagram, a CFD, to visualize your team's workflow and solve common Agile problems using practical examples from real Agile teams. Let's break it down in under 10 minutes. Whether you are a product owner, a Scrum Master, a project manager, or a tech lead, understanding the CFD will enhance your ability to manage work, make data-driven decisions, and improve team productivity. A CFD is a visual representation of your workflow over time. It tracks the number of tasks in different stages, such as to do, in progress, in review, PO acceptance, and done. The x-axis represents time, while the y-axis shows the cumulative number of tasks or work items. Those can be issues or items or tasks, including user stories, tasks, spikes, bugs, subtasks, and others based on how your team classifies them in your working agreement. Each colored band in the CFD represents a different state of work. Think of a CFD as a snapshot of your project's health, showing how many or how much work is completed in each stage over time. It helps you see if work is moving smoothly through the stages or if there are areas where tasks or work is piling up. Let's say your team is working on a feature for a shopping cart application. You have items like add to cart functionality, cart summary, and checkout flow, all moving through the workflow stages. The CFD will show if these items are progressing as planned or getting stuck in one stage. Each colored band in the CFD represents a stage of your workflow. As items move through the stages, these bands will show you if your team's work is flowing smoothly or if there is a bottleneck somewhere. Here is another scenario. Your CFD shows in the in progress band expanding too quickly. This means that your team is starting too many tasks at once, leading to multitasking and inefficiency. Suppose your team is working on multiple features at the same time, like the checkout flow or a promo code application, but they are not finishing any of them. The result, none of the features get completed by the end of the sprint, and the work spills over to the next iteration or the next sprint. The focus here is to look at your status columns, whether it's the Azure DevOps board or a Jira board. Look at the columns in your team and focus on how work flows through these columns. It is also important to set WIP limits. Setting WIP limits to control the number of tasks in progress at any given time helps teams. Focus on finishing the checkout flow feature before taking on more tasks, and you will see the in progress band narrow down. Now let's talk about managing scope changes. Have you ever seen the top of your backlog band in the CFD suddenly shoot up? This is a clear sign of scope creep. A new work is being added faster than your team can handle. New work is always added for teams, especially in Agile environment, but you want to keep a tab and watch for it. Imagine you're halfway through the sprint and the product owner keeps adding new stories for enhancement. This causes the backlog to swell, making it harder for the team to stay focused on their original sprint goals. The CFD will show a sudden rise in the backlog band, indicating more items are being introduced mid-sprint. What is the solution here? Discuss these new items with your product owner and prioritize. Move non-critical items back to the backlog for future sprints to maintain focus and keep your current sprint under control. It is also important to monitor throughput for maintaining delivery pace. A slope of the done band in your CFD shows how quickly tasks are being completed. A steep slope means high throughput. Tasks are getting done quickly. But if the slope flattens out, it's a sign that the delivery is slowing down. Let's say your team normally completes 15 stories per sprint, but suddenly they are only able to finish 5. This is like seeing the down slope flattening out, indicating a sudden drop in throughput. Check if there are any new blockers or distractions affecting the team. This is where you want to look at a nice, smooth flow of work. But if you don't see that, it's indicative of challenges within your team. Identify root causes, whether it's resource constraints or external team dependencies. Take action and get the team back on track. It is also very important to make sure that your team is moving cards effectively through the workflow column in your project management tools, such as Jira, Azure DevOps, Asana, or any other tool that your team uses. If your team is forgetting to move tasks or cards in Jira from in progress to review or from review to done, the CFD will show inaccurate information. This means you won't be able to see where the work is getting stuck, making the metrics meaningless. So emphasize to your team that keeping Jira board up to date isn't just a formality. It's critical for capturing the right data and understanding your workflow. Use it to not just find issues, but to fuel your Kaizen mindset. When bottlenecks appear frequently in the same state, it is a signal for a retrospective discussion. Ask your team, how can we streamline this process to smoothen the flow? Bring the CFD to your sprint reviews or to your leadership discussions. It speaks louder than words. A well-analyzed CFD helps justify why additional resources might be needed or if scope adjustments are necessary. Let the data tell your story. Consider your CFD as a mood ring for team health. If your workflow bands are balanced and parallel, your team is likely calm and in control. If there are erratic challenges and congestion, it may indicate stress and burnout. Use it as a leading indicator for proactive intervention. The cumulative flow diagram isn't just a data chart. It's your team's story unfolding over time. It's the heartbeat of your agile process, capturing flow, efficiency, and overall health of the team. Next time you glance at your CFD, ask yourself, what's the story telling me today? Or what's the story telling the team today? How can I, as an agile leader, or as an agile coach, or as a scrum master, respond to it to foster a high performing team? What agile metrics do you use in your teams? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you.